G'day Spurs fans, Paul the Hotspur hippie here. You join me in my world-class training facility on my roof. And I thought I'd give you a few comments on mental health. I've been a bit torn over whether to comment on this situation, but I am hearing a lot of opinions on the internet. You know what? I'm just going to sit. No, I'm not. I'm going to walk over here. About mental health, and I think there are a few misconceptions, should I put it that way. Now, of course, this has all come in light of the Dele Alli situation, which I didn't really want to talk about because the guy's had trauma. He's been forced to come public about it, and I think that's absolutely atrocious and unacceptable. And I feel for the guy, so I don't want to profit by clicks and likes and subscribes and all that shit out of someone else's misery. But I would like to talk to you a little bit about mental health. And I think there's still this misconception that things like depression or anxiety, and I can speak from experience here because I suffer from both. I have my whole life. Those feelings, those illnesses, those spells when they come and grab you, are not just being sad. It's a very, very different thing. So I'm hearing people saying, is it acceptable to criticise players' mental health and all that? And I've never been a professional footballer. I can't really say. What I can say is I have done things in the public eye before, and I have been cheered, and I have been booed, mainly when I sucked. And that kind of mass feeling of booing, it makes you feel sad. Doesn't make you feel particularly good. Maybe can give you a bit of self-doubt. But it's totally different to depression, and those things have never kicked off any depression episodes in my life. When a bunch of strangers think I suck, well, maybe I do, or maybe I've got the wrong crowd or something like that. So I think to say that it's not right to criticise professional footballers at all, I think it's kind of missing the point. I hope I'm making sense here. And this is just my one guy's opinion here. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm just giving my own perspective, because I think I'm seeing people comment on this kind of thing who haven't had experience of it themselves. The things that can trigger episodes of like depression and anxiety are usually much more personally related. I think personal relationships, personal circumstances in life. And I say this, I used to be a counsellor as well. Things that happened in your childhood, major dramatic events in your life, they can trigger those things. Day-to-day manipulation or abuse, which, let's face it, there's so many people out there that are going through this. It's about not doing what you want to do a lot of the time. It's being manipulated and coerced and bullied a lot of the time in the workplace. I'm sure you all know people out there that are in this situation. Those are the things, those day-to-day, everyday grinds that if someone is prone to depression, those are the things that can kick it off. To me, that is very, very different from having a bad performance on a football field and getting criticised or booed. I think that's part and parcel of the game, and I think you accept when you go into any form of entertainment, which football is, that can happen. That's a reality. Now, during Dele's interview, he didn't really mention bad reception from fans or anything like that, because I don't think. Well, look, what do I know? But it didn't sound like. I mean, it was more serious, major stuff that happened earlier in his life that he was trying to block out. He might well have not been too aware of people's reactions. I don't know, I'm speculating, I shouldn't do that. I guess I just wanted to try and, tell you a bit of difference between, feeling sad because you've been criticised, sometimes because you suck, sometimes fairly, and what depression and poor mental health is all about. Very, very, very different things. I think what can affect players' mental health is more when they come out of the game, when that adrenaline, that camaraderie, those extraordinary highs they've had in their life. Hopefully, if they've had even if they've had a professional career, they're bound to have had some of these feelings. When those are now missing from their lives, and it's those times where I think there isn't much support for people, and I think football clubs and the governing bodies, or something behind me there, could do more to assist people in those positions. There's been plenty of instances of footballers, I'm not going to go into names, but I'm sure you can think of a few, that have had really good careers, have had nothing but praise because they've excelled on the pitch and won all sorts of things from all sorts of teams. But even so, they've had incredible mental obstacles to overcome, whether it's addiction or whatever. That's a common, not common, but it happens, and those things aren't related to criticism on the pitch, because they've always done the job. So it's really, to me, it comes down to, I don't know, I think it's the problems are just deeper. The problems are just deeper than booing footballers on the pitch. I think when we're talking about mental health, from my own circumstance, I as I've grown up, I can see kind of a decay in community. People aren't as close to each other anymore. People are much more competitive, materialistic. If you start trying to fill that void with material things, it's a ravenous beast. It will never be satisfied. You'll always want more and more and more. You'll value your fellow human being less and less and less to get what you want, and it will never be enough. And I always keep in the back of my mind that there's no tow bar in a hearse. Tow bar in a hearse. So mental health problems are much wider than just in footballers. And Delhi's was an extreme tragic case. Not all footballers are going through that, and when they don't perform and they suck a bit, I think it's part of the game that they get criticised, because us as fans are emotionally involved for whatever weird, old, crazy reason we are, and that gives them the ability to have a very good income, because if we didn't care that much, there wouldn't be as much money in the game. And the downside is, when you suck, you might get booed. Players, when they go to away grounds, get booed all the time, but somehow it's only the home fans booing that we've got to worry about mental health. I don't know if I'm making sense by saying this. I'll have to listen to this before I upload it. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. But I think, like I said, I think criticising a player's performance is no big deal, really. That's part of the game. Mental health is usually triggered by things a lot more personal than that. And if someone is going through a tough mental time, they might well be blocking that out a lot of the time. And there's a big difference between a mental health problem and just feeling sad or down and lonely because you've been criticised. They're two very different things. I think that's all I've got to say on it. We shall see if I upload this. But anyway, come on you Spurs. Only a few days till Tuesday. And just thought I'd put that out there anyway. Cheers folks.